All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the second part of the show, we're going to talk more about the Buffalo Bills and them once again being eliminated in the playoffs by the Kansas City Chiefs. So, of course, we talked about the game yesterday, but it's more of the same with the Bills. And, I had to see it to believe it when watching this game the other night. There was really never a point where now I thought the Bills could definitely win the game, but there was never a point where I thought, yeah, the Bills got this locked down. There wasn't. They go down 21-10. Josh Allen hits Matt Collins for the touchdown before the end of the half, and that was big, to get yourself, to close the gap between the two teams at that point. And then they went ahead at one point. They were up by one. But even then, it's just this game was not going to be over until the clock hit 0. That's when I would be like, all right, the Bills got this. But, yeah, it's just, I talked about it in the last segment. It's just the Chiefs, they made more plays in big moments than the Bills did. And I thought it was interesting. So I saw the clip of RG3 on the Kay Adams show, and he was breaking down that 4th and 5 play. And he said, if Josh was able to, change the protection at the line and, have it so where, they would have picked up that corner blitz, then he could have hit Khalil Shakir, who was running a kind of a comeback route. I don't know what the kind of route it was, but he could have threw it to Khalil Shakir. He could have threw it to Dalton Kincaid over the middle. But, Steve Spagnuolo really designed that blitz well, or disguised that blitz well, because, the Bills did not expect Trent McDuffie, right, to, blitz on that play. But the Chiefs brought the house, and, Josh Allen, heaved it up, and Kincaid could have caught it. And, look, he should have caught it, but that's not an easy catch. People were saying it's like the Mark Andrews catch. It's not. It's not like the Mark Andrews catch. Mark Andrews, that ball hit him right in the chest. He should have caught that. That was an easier catch than what we saw on Sunday. Because, Dalton Kincaid had to come back for it, and he dove for it. And, yeah, should have caught it. But that was a tougher catch. And that would have been a heck of a play by Josh Allen if that would have been completed. But, yeah, it's just more of the same. Now, what do the Bills have to do to get back to this point? Look, they still have a very good team. Now, if this was a year where many people thought the Bills were not going to play well, we're not going to do well this year. And, I started drinking that Kool-Aid, but then I came back and said, you know what, this team is still going to make the playoffs. I can't see a world where Josh Allen's not going to make it. So, yeah, I had them as a wild card team. And we all know who I had winning the AFC East. But Josh Allen had arguably his best year. And, the Bills, they got back to the championship game. Now, I think there's some things they got to clean up on defense. There's some older players on that side of the ball. I'm thinking of Von Miller. They need to get more youth on that side of the ball. Then get more impact players as well. I mean, I don't know what their cap situation is off the top of my head, but I think defense should definitely be up there in terms of their priorities this offseason. Receivers, look, there are guys that stepped up this year. Khalil Shakir had a good year. Matt Collins led the team in touchdown receptions. You still got the 2 tight ends. James Cook is one of the more underrated backs in the league. But you definitely are missing something. Amari Cooper, obviously you do that trade, in the middle of the year, but he was not as impactful as I think we would have thought he would have been. They need to get somebody else on that side. You look at the Chiefs, they got a lot of older players. And, when you're talking about Kelsey and D-Hop and Juju Smith-Schuster, you got Xavier Worthy, who has really, stepped it up, towards the end of the season and then into the playoffs. Because since Hollywood Brown has come back, he's looked a lot better. That's helped that offense. But, yeah, the Chiefs have guys that fit their system too. I mean, they brought back Juju Smith-Schuster and they brought back Kareem Hunt, and look at what those guys have done. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster had 2 big catches for him. Kareem Hunt had a good game as well. And Jim Nantz said it too. I said the same thing. He was looking like the Kareem Hunt from his rookie season and in 2018 as well. First 2 years in the league. The Bills need another impactful player on that offense. Now, that player was Stephon Diggs, but obviously things changed, and he wanted to go elsewhere. And you know what? Both teams, or both sides. Unfortunately for Diggs, he got hurt, but he was off to a very good start with the Texans, and the Bills were doing well. So it worked out for both sides. But yeah, and I know there's people are throwing out there that maybe the Dolphins could trade Tyreek Hill to the Bills. I don't see that happening. I don't think they're going to trade him within the division. But, there's some receivers that are going to be out there. Maybe they trade for one or they can sign one. Again, I got to see what the cap situation is like. But, look, this team made it to the AFC Championship game in a year where maybe people didn't expect them to do that. So next year, you reload and you go at it again and hope that it goes your way this time. It's just tough, though. You got to feel for Bills fans. You lose 4 straight Super Bowls, and now, here in the present day, you lose 4 straight playoff games to the same quarterback. Well, actually, I shouldn't say 4 straight because you did lose to Joe Burrow in between that. But still, you've lost 4 straight games to Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. That's a better way to put it. So, it's just, when is it going to end? Will they ever get over the hump? Like I said in the last segment, at some point, what goes up must come down. At some point, the Chiefs are going to slip up. Maybe it's next week. Maybe it is. But at some point, they're going to slip up. At some point, they are going to regress. And that is going to allow possibly the Josh Allens of the world, the Joe Burrows of the world, the Lamar Jacksons of the world to finally get their opportunity to get that Super Bowl. Because those guys deserve it. And there's some other quarterbacks as well that I did not mention. But those are the 3, because Burrow's played in one. Josh Allen and Lamar, they have played in AFC Championship games. At some point, it's going to break their way. I do believe that. Now, it's possible that, maybe it doesn't. And Mahomes just runs the AFC for his entire career. No, it's not going to happen. At some point, the Chiefs will lose in the playoffs. But who knows when that's going to happen. We thought, all right, the Bills were at home last year. This could be it. Nope. And then the following week, all right, the Ravens, they're the number 1 seed. They're at home. This could be their chance to beat the Chiefs. Nope. Lamar Jackson has only beaten Patrick Mahomes 1 time. And he's lucky that he won that 1 time. And then this year, you thought, let's see. Both Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are up there for MVP. Maybe this is it. Nope. And again, the Chiefs struggled offensively at times throughout the regular season, just like last year. But like I said, they're going to turn it up in the playoffs. You just know they are. And until they don't, I'm going to keep saying that. And they turned it up again. So it's just upsetting. And my friend brought this up too. You watch Josh Allen's press conferences every year that they've lost to the Chiefs in the playoffs. And this one, he was the most depressed that he's been. Because it's like, again, this has happened. When is it going to end? And it's not like he doesn't play well in these games. He was great on Sunday. He made some incredible throws. Now, I didn't bring this up during the recap, but there were some passes early on where I was like, what are you doing? I think, I don't know, what was it, the first or the second drive of the game for the Bills, where he just heaved it up, down the field, and that could have been intercepted. There was a couple of times where he could have got intercepted. There were some tip passes at the line of scrimmage, and the Bills did fumble it a handful of times, but thankfully they were able to jump back on it. They won the turnover battle. They still lost. But, yeah, the ball did get put in harm's way. But the Bills were fortunate that nothing led to a turnover. But Josh Allen, he's only had, I think, one interception in the games against the Chiefs in the playoffs? Yeah, Josh Allen has had one interception in his 4 games against the Chiefs in the playoffs. That's what one of my friends said. And there were some other stats. I think I still have them saved. Yeah. So first there were 5 fumbles in the AFC Championship game. The Chiefs recovered all of them. Teams with 4+ turnover or 4+ touchdowns and 0 turnovers are 21-2 in the playoffs since 2020. The 2 losses: Bills at Chiefs 2024 AFC Championship game, Bills at Chiefs 2021 divisional round. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Like when you watch the playoff games that Lamar Jackson has lost, you could say, yeah, he didn't play well. But for Josh Allen, a majority of his playoff games, he plays good. It's just they come up short. I mean, they aired the divisional round game, on Saturday when they lost 42-36. Josh Allen, that was probably one of the best games he has ever played in the NFL. Not just in the regular season. Overall. And it comes down to the Chiefs get the ball with 13 seconds left, and they're able to get in field goal range, mainly because they had all 3 timeouts left. They tie the game, they get the ball to start overtime, and they win it. And that's why the overtime rules have changed. That's why last year was the first time we ever saw these new overtime rules take effect, because there really hasn't been any overtime games in the playoffs since the rule change. Because we almost had our first double overtime game. But, yeah, it's tough. And the other thing, too, is should Sean McDermott be fired? No. Absolutely not. Now, the disparity between him and Andy Reid, there's a big gap. Andy Reid is a much better coach than Sean McDermott. But Sean McDermott and the Bills, they consistently make the playoffs every single year. They've made it to 2 AFC Championship games. They just come up short. It's not like this team is not making the playoffs and they're, I mean, last year could have been the year. Because they it didn't look good there for a little bit, but they still made the playoffs. And, they had a home playoff game against the Chiefs. They ended up losing it. It was a close one. But yeah, I don't think Sean McDermott should be fired. I think if the Bills have a bad year next year, then yeah, maybe you consider it. But I would not be looking to move off of Sean McDermott. They have the team to do it. I mean, it's the same thing with the Ravens. Now, I think the Ravens roster, you'd probably favor it over the Bills right now. Because, if you take Josh Allen off the Bills, I mean, they might not even sniff the playoff. Well, yeah, they don't even sniff the playoffs. With the Ravens, I mean, we saw what happened when Lamar Jackson got hurt. The Ravens weren't the same team. But, you still got Derrick Henry that you can lean on. I mean, the Bills can lean on James Cook, but, the Ravens, they kind of figured things out on defense, so their defense would keep them in games. The Ravens have the better defense of the two. The Ravens roster as a whole, you'd probably take over the Bills. But because the Bills have Josh Allen, it doesn't matter. How many times have we seen quarterbacks carry a team where the roster is not very good? So. But let me know what you guys think about the Bills' playoff woes. Do you think they eventually get over the hump? Let me know in the comments. So before we go to break, I just want to remind you guys, once again, to tip or donate and get your comments recognized. Make sure to hit that super chat button in the chat if you want to see me acknowledge any thought or comment you may have throughout the live broadcast. It makes the show more lively, more entertaining between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. We appreciate you guys' viewership each and every day, so any contribution you can make to the show means the world to us as we put out content for you guys each and every day. And also, the other way to help out the show is by going to the link at the bottom of the show segment on the ticker, GSMCPodcast.net. That is GSMCPodcast.net. So when we come back from our next break, we will talk about the Washington Commanders. Kind of more on their playoff loss to the Eagles on Sunday and just, what they have to do. Kind of similar to the Bills. What they got to do to get back and make a deep playoff run once again. So, with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.